Hey everybody, I'm Adrian Bustamante and welcome to Food Deconstructed. This week we'll be deconstructing everyone's favorite dessert, the apple pie. So the first recipe we're going to make actually is apple pie ravioli. Now, this is going to be a great sweet and savory dish. It's going to, like I said before, use the same essential ingredients of an apple pie with a little bit of a twist. So we have apples here, actually Honeycrisp apples to be exact, along with some diced up chicken apple sausage, some onions, some lemon, some fresh sage, some cinnamon sticks, a little bit of brown sugar, salt, pepper, Parmesan cheese, some honey, and some butter. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to saute up some onions along with some diced up apples in some butter. A question that I get randomly from time to time is, how do you keep your apples from browning immediately after you cut them? Well, I have a little trick. What I do is I like to toss my apples in a little bit of lemon juice. It actually decreases the amount of browning that happens over time. So these have actually already been tossed in some lemon juice, but I'm going to show you how to do it at home. First thing we'll start off with our Honeycrisp apple. I already washed it. Please wash all your fruit and vegetables at home before cutting them or serving it to anybody. Now we're going to peel each apple. We just want to take the skin off. The skin's not bitter and it's very edible, obviously, but for our purposes of actually sauteing it, it's just going to actually become a lot more tender and bring in the flavor of the onion as well as the butter faster by taking this off. And then we begin dicing. Now, when dicing, what I like to do is to make sure that we cut this portion out of the apple. It's where all the seeds are held, and it's actually the core. So the core isn't really that edible, so what I like to do is just kind of go down the middle of it with my knife, nice and easy. Now, we are actually using Honeycrisp apples. I like Honeycrisp apples because they're nice and sweet. They don't have like a lot of sour taste to them, but you can actually use any type of apple you want at home. So if you're a fan of Granny Smith apples, you're a fan of Fuji apples, Golden Delicious, whatever you like at home, it's up to you, but these are Honeycrisp. Now we're going to toss this in a little bit of lemon juice, like I said, to keep it from browning. So this way that if you're making your stuff, you're prepping your food ahead of time, it's not going to brown on you. And it's actually a great trick to do if you're using apples for any type of garnish, for a party or anything like that. It just keeps it looking nice and fresh for you. Nice and easy toss. And we're going to start sauteing our onions and our apples. Now we have about 3 Honeycrisp apples along with 1 small white onion and then 2 tablespoons of butter. So we're going to put our butter in the pan, let that kind of coat the pan. So when we do add our apples and our onions, the butter is going to slowly but surely get over all of our ingredients. Now adding our onions and apples is actually going to be the beginning of the filling for our ravioli. Start with some onions as well as our apples. Just move it around a little bit. You're going to let that saute for roughly about 3 to 5 minutes, just making sure that the onions and everything gets nice and tender. They'll start to look like a similar color, but a good way to know if your onions are done is they actually turn a translucent color. So let that sit for just a minute. We'll let that saute up, and while that's sauteing, I'm going to bring in our wonton wrappers. They are a great substitute for pasta if you, for some reason, have wonton wrappers in your house instead of pasta. So I'm just going to put these down for ourselves. That's cooking. Starting to saute up. Now once those are done sauteing, we're actually going to add a couple extra things in here. So we're actually going to add a little bit of lemon rind, some brown sugar, and some honey. Now it's going to be 1 full lemon rind. Now I've already done 3 lemon rinds here for you. Now a quick and easy way that you can do a lemon rind at home, you just have to be very careful with your knife. If your knife's sharp enough, you should just be able to go down the edge of the rind with your knife and follow the curvature of that lemon rind. Boom, nice and easy. Throw that away, and we have our whole rind. Now, brown sugar wise, we're going to be using about 2 tablespoons. You can add a little bit more. It's not like you're actually hurting it if you add a little more sugar. It just means your filling is going to be that much sweeter, as well as 2 tablespoons of honey. Now lemon rinds are great because they actually do hold a lot of the lemon flavor in them. So it's just going to add a little extra zing to our dish. our 2 tablespoons of honey. We'll do 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. All right, while that's finishing up, I'm gonna get started on prepping my ravioli. So again, here are our wonton wrappers. I'll place these out. But I'm also gonna make an egg wash. Now our egg wash is really easy to make, and the purpose of it is to create an adhesive for our ravioli. So all you're gonna do is take an egg, put it right in there, make sure the shell doesn't fall in. Probably just use 1 for now. Add a little bit of water, and then whisk it together. Nice and simple. Now once that's all whisked together, we're gonna take our brush and we're gonna brush it over the wonton wrappers. All right, everybody, we're gonna move on to filling our raviolis, putting this stuff together. So I'm gonna take our wonton wrappers and bring in our filling that's done cooking. An onion mixture here. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to try and just put 2 little dollops here on each corner. I should be able to make 2 raviolis out of 1 square here. Bring in our other. Just lay it over the top, nice and easy. Okay, once that's in there, I'm gonna bring in my egg wash. And I'm gonna go around the edge here of the wonton wrapper. I'm also gonna go around the edge here because, since I'm gonna bring in another wonton wrapper and lay it over the top, I'm gonna want this to adhere to the whole top. So you'll kind of see why I'm doing it this way in a second. It'll be easier. Second wonton wrapper. Just line it up with the edges of the other. Press down along the edges here. Then you're gonna bring in your little cookie cutter here. Find your little mound of filling. Press down. Give it a slight little twist, nothing too crazy. 1 more. Sometimes they'll just pop out nice and easy. Perfect as well. And we're gonna start on our sauce. Now this sauce is gonna be a butter-based sauce, and it's gonna be very, very savory. Now, we're gonna start off with 1½ sticks of butter. Just gonna place that in our little pan here and let that melt down. We're also gonna add a cinnamon stick. We're also gonna put that in here with the butter, and we're gonna let that melt down. Once that comes together, we're gonna add fresh sage, but I'm gonna get started on these now because we're gonna use about 2 tablespoons of freshly torn apart sage. Now I'm gonna tear these apart. I'm gonna try and get them into as small pieces I possibly can. I don't want big chunks of sage just hanging out in my sauce. Make sure that you don't use the stems. Stems are not gonna be an edible piece to your dish. All right, our 2 tablespoons of sage is all torn apart. And it looks like my butter and cinnamon base here is nice and done. So we are going to throw in my 2 tablespoons of sage, as well as diced up chicken apple sausage. I'm gonna use about 2 tablespoons roughly of Parmesan cheese. A little bit of salt and pepper to taste, but just a tad. Mix these up, and once this is done cooking, we're gonna bring it off and let it cool. And then we're gonna come back, throw our raviolis in a pot, put these all together. All right guys, we are back. I've taken my sauce off the heat. I've put my ravioli in the boiling water. It usually takes very quickly for these ravioli to cook, 2 to 3 minutes, and a good way to see that they're done is actually start rising a little bit to the top. One thing I forgot to talk about and I wanted to tell you is when you're done with your sauce, make sure you remove your cinnamon stick. You're not gonna want to chomp on this at all, so removed it from the pan. And we're gonna bring these out as they look like they are just about done. Now I'm just gonna make sure that there's no excess water in this bowl. Now I'm gonna bring in my sauce. Now you'll see all that nice oil from the butter. Ravioli are a little delicate, so I don't want to break them too much. Our garnish for this is gonna be some diced up apples, a little bit extra Parmesan cheese. And there you have it, folks, apple pie ravioli. Okay, let's taste this. Kind of excited. That was exactly what I was hoping for. So savory, yet that hint of sweet coming in from the apples and the brown sugar in that filling. And the ravioli, just that combination of that nice butter sauce. Oh, everything is just so good. The savoriness, the richness of it. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to give you that richness of the apple pie, still give you the taste of the apple, which comes from obviously the apple and the chicken sausage, with just the hint of that nice, I guess, carbohydrate almost from like you would normally get from your apple pie crust. The one thing I do wish that was in this a little bit was maybe some kind of texture to add a little extra crunch to it, like an apple pie. But overall, really, really great dish. So, apple pie ravioli.